So who are you?
My name's Ted Cocheu. I'm the founder and the CEO of Altus Systems.
Yep. And Rocky and I go around the world and look at companies that are changing the way people work together. And what does your company do?
Well, that's a good question. We use video to help companies capture, share, find, and reuse their knowledge. And so people, share knowledge in companies all the time, every day, in a variety of ways.
So I bet a lot of people are going, what? Why doesn't a company just get a camcorder like we have and put it up on YouTube?
Well, they can, and they do. They do that. The problem is that from a company's point of view, you need to systematically capture that knowledge. And it needs to be in a single place, and it needs to be searchable and findable, and it needs to be available in all the different formats that people need. Yeah. And so putting it on, and it needs to be secure.
Yeah, because there might be some secrets there.
It needs to be secure.
They can't put it up on YouTube.
They can't put it up on YouTube, and so they do, as you say, though they capture they try to capture their knowledge in a variety of ways, but it ends up in different places depending upon what tools are used.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're using a camcorder, or you're using a flip video, or you're using WebEx, or you're using some other tools, they end up telepresence or video conferencing. They end up all over the place.
Yeah.
And so then when people go to try to find these things later on, because they need that knowledge and they need to be able to use it in the course of their work, they can't find it.
Yeah.
So that's.
So what have you built that helps solve that problem across the enterprise?
Well, we have an entire infrastructure that we provide as a service. So we have content as a service, video as a service, and so we provide all of that on an on-demand basis.
So you take everything from a cell phone video on up to a professionally done video with 2 or 3 cameras?
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay. And so on occasion companies need us to help record it, like you're recording it today, and we outsource all of that. We're actually probably the only digital media company in the world that doesn't own a camera, because we outsource all of that, and companies produce a lot of it themselves, and then we get a lot of it online. So we get it in a variety of different formats, from a variety of different sources. We bring it all together into a common format in a single place, which is then searchable, essentially down to the spoken word.
How is it searchable? Because video is pretty opaque for searchability.
It is, and so there's a lot of talk recently about machine transcription,
yeah, and
captioning, as they call it, and so we can provide that as well. But since we have our customers range from Cisco and IBM and Oracle, all the way down to smaller companies, but mostly we have enterprise class customers, and they demand that not only is it searchable, but that it's transcribed and that it's 100% accurate.
Right.
And so they tend to choose manual transcription, which we also offshore. So what we do then is
they have enough money to pay for that.
They do. So there's 2 levels of service. You want the machine transcription, and it has the accuracy that it has. And then if you really want it punctuated, hyphenated, capitalized, all of these kinds of things, and proofread, then we provide it as a service as well. And then so the virtue then of that is, in the process, whether it's manual or machine transcription, it's synchronized with the media, and so that when you go to look for something, you're doing a full text search over every spoken word.
Yeah.
So it's not limited to metadata and those kinds of things. You're doing a full text search over every spoken word. The other key point, though, is that then that media is accessible at that point.
Got it.
And so the key, and like your videos, like this video will probably be like 33 minutes or something like that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they tend to be longer, and
it's hard to go right to the quote you just gave me or something.
Exactly. And in the enterprise, they tend to be longer. It's like 45, 47 minutes for an average presentation, whether it's a new product launch or
training
video, those kinds of things. And so nobody has time to sit and watch 45 minutes of every video. So what they really want is that little segment, that little piece of information, that nugget. And so they can search over an entire library, which could, in some cases, be thousands of hours of video, and go directly to a single point in a presentation or conversation.
And you can deal with a dramatic amount of video just for Oracle, because you guys did Oracle World, right?
We did, for the last 2 years, we've recorded Open World, that's true.
Oracle's Open World Conference,
yeah.
How many videos and audio clips did you have there? Thousands, you told me.
Well, this year was like 1,900, excuse me, 1,900. Last year was about 1,800.
Yeah.
And they occur in 100 different concurrent sessions around San Francisco, and I don't know, a dozen different venues.
So if I'm an Oracle customer or an Oracle employee, do I have the same view into that video set, or
you do? So if you were a paid attendee,
okay,
then you have that, and if you're an Oracle attendee, you both have both groups have access to that content.
What would be a common search term? PeopleSoft, probably, or
PeopleSoft,
or Exadata.
Exadata is probably the most popular or most frequent search term, and so one of the things, by the way, let me just mention too, as part of the service, is that in the enterprise, metrics are critical, and so they want to know.
Yeah.
What is used, where did they access it, in what format? Not only did they download it, but did they RSS subscribe? Did they use the iTunes, download that we provide? Did they go from the start? But they also want to know, is it an MP3, an MP4? And they also want to know, what are people searching on? What's top of mind for people as well?
Because
so Exadata for Oracle, Exadata, whether, by the way, it's their sales kickoff or whether it's the Open World, which we did both of those events, and their partner network as well. Exadata was the #1 term.
In their financial results.
PeopleSoft was like 3 though, but yeah, you're right.
Well, it was popular outside, right? Because if you're on Google and you heard PeopleSoft is in some sort of deal with Oracle, you immediately start searching. But
good point.
Your employees told me that they saw a lot of searching on Exadata, and then 2 months later, the financial results came out, and they said that they were selling a lot of databases, Exadata databases. So search is a predictor of what are going to be the sales drivers.
It is. It's top of mind for people. So absolutely. So you can see what are people interested in, and since our focus, video as a service is used in a variety of different ways.
Yeah.
We do technical services updates for technicians in the automotive dealerships. We do all kinds of things, but our focus is on what we call sales enablement. And so when we provide this content to, well, I don't know, is Open World training? I don't know. If you see what I mean, it's when people are making new product introductions, they're presenting information, they're trying to get messaging out, they're trying to show the competitive advantage of one system over another, these kinds of things. They have to find exactly what they need when they need it in the field. So they're very busy folks. They're paid a lot of money. You don't want them spending a lot of time watching video. And what you want them to do is find what they need immediately. And so in this case, the Exadata is a good predictor of what people are interested in the field, whether it's their partners or whether it's their sales folks. And there was a 100% correlation there between those two, absolutely. And it turns out, by the way, that they did, Oracle did do their sales kickoff, their internal sales kickoff, as well as their Open World Conference, as well as their Partner Network Conference. So they did all 3 of those using this same approach, and Exadata was #1 on all 3. So,
what other trends are you seeing affect your business? I would expect bottom line pressure to be one, because Oracle, in fact, I heard cut out their sales conference this year, right? That was a $10 million expense to move thousands of people to one city. Now they're doing it with video, right?
Yes, indeed. And so that has been a big driver, and it's, to tell you the truth, it's been very good for us. To tell you, the cost reduction. In one case, one of the big automotive companies went bankrupt. You may have heard. Yep. I won't speak of which one it was.
We can all figure it out.
But part of their cost reduction program was being able to use this technology versus other things that they were doing, so they consolidated. So that was huge for us. But travel restrictions in general are very good for us, because people need to get the information one way or the other. And so we can provide it to them online. And so they cut out their sales kickoffs. That's very common. Sometimes they'll do hybrid events, so that's kind of the, so what has happened, Robert, is first of all, they'll cut out the whole conference and they'll say, let's just do it, using WebEx or using video or doing it online. And then they'll come back around and they'll say, well, let's do a hybrid event. Let's get a subset of people here. Other people can be online and watch it live. And then the majority of people really are going to access content on demand.
Yeah.
And so this has been really helpful for us driving that point, which is you don't have to all be in the same room, you don't have to be there in person. In-person meetings are helpful, and sometimes that's useful, but in general it's an on-demand world right now. So this has been great for us, to tell you the truth.
Tell me about the competitive landscape. Who are you competing with, and what makes you different?
Well, it's a good question. As you know, video is seeping into the enterprise more and more these days. So it's becoming much more prevalent. And so there's a bunch of different point solutions. So there's people will offer a box or a webcasting box or some kind of a service.
My old employer, Winov, does that.
So there's a lot of different point solutions. The thing that's different for us is we kind of ride above all of those systems because we don't really care. We're agnostic as to the source of the video or the file format or the medium. I mean, we actually get tapes sometimes. Sometimes it'll transfer it, online. Sometimes people
starting to sound like my dad. I remember the day we had punch cards.
Those things still exist. I mean, come on, So whatever, whether it's an online WebEx archive or somebody has a tape. I mean, so for us, we're agnostic as to the source or the format or the medium, and we. Then take all of that content, put it in a common format in a single place that's then searchable, it's subscribable, it's downloadable, and it's social, and it's secure. So that's what's different about this, as we could take and do take content from all of those different sources.
Now, as the enterprise starts going social next year because of Salesforce's chatter and SAP's noodling on things.
Yeah, sure.
Other companies are noodling, like
there's a social CRM
text,
and all kinds
social
of
CRM, social text, Jive. They're all coming. Absolutely. They're all trying to bring Facebook or Twitter style social behaviors into the enterprise.
Sure.
Do you have an API so that those systems can hook into your system and grab videos out and shove them into a social stream?
We do, absolutely. So we provide web services, and so we could deliver our content or any of the services that we have in our system to other services. Number one, and then also within our system, there's all social functionality within it as well. So in our system, in our solution, as soon as a person logs on, they have a profile. Yeah. Anything that they have done becomes part of that profile automatically, and so people can then also create communities. And what's key and what we have found is the most important aspect of making those social successful in the enterprise is having a base of content that they go to. So since we have a tremendous advantage in that in that regard, we already have for each of our customers, we already have a library of content that they already go to because they know that's where they can go to get what they need. And when they go there, then they also then find each other, if you see what I mean. And then they can rate, and then they can comment, and then they can ask questions. And when you see a presentation, you click on that person's name because you thought, well, this Robert's an interesting guy. Let me go see what he's done. Then everything that you've done then is part of your profile. And then I find everything that you have done, including a blog that you may have or other user-generated content that you have uploaded. And other communities that you belong to. So then I can also find, communities that you belong to, and then find those people and associate with them as well, and then participate at a group level.
If you got a new company, you know, a Chevron or something that hasn't dealt with you before, and they have video all over the place, they have some guys who've done some flip cams and some, you know, WebEx recordings and other stuff, you know, and there's a bunch of stuff in SharePoint probably.
Absolutely, yeah.
How does your system find all that data, or do you have to have a team manually hook it all in first? Or what's the first week like to, you know, when you buy your system?
The first week is generally that they have some kind of an urgent meeting or something that they're doing and that they want to capture it. So that brings their attention like, oh my gosh, you know, we have this sales kickoff coming and it's going to be in a month, and you know, and so they can come to us and we can respond in that amount of time. So we can have a fully branded, secure portal, content portal up and ready for them. We can record that content, put that in there, and they can do all that in less than a month. Mm-hmm. Then what generally then happens is say, oh my gosh, that was great. I have all this other stuff. And so then we have, in terms of our initial client engagement process, we try to do a survey of all of that, try to find out what information exists. But even more important, because that may be legacy content, what's more important in that client engagement process is understanding where is information flowing in the organization that needs to be captured. Yeah. You see what I mean? Yeah. Right? So it could be geographies are trying to share information. It could be engineering to engineering. It could be engineering to marketing, marketing to sales, marketing to the channel. Yeah. So the extended enterprise is big for us too. The channel is huge for all of our customers. And how do they get information securely out to their channel partners? And so what we try to do then is identify where is all this critical information flowing in the organization anyway, and then how can we work with them to make sure that that's captured and made available on demand. Yeah. What sort of pricing is this, and what size organization do you need to be to deal with you? Well, it's a good question. Could it be a two-person flower shop, or you know? No, generally not. Our initial customer base, for historical purposes, was the large enterprise. Cisco was our first and continues to be our largest customer. And so, you know, we kind of started at the enterprise level because they have so much information from and then you have to be able to find it, and it's a mess. And so we help solve that problem for them. But so you like companies bigger than 1,000 people? Yes, it's ideal in that way. And if we have focused on technology companies because they have such a churn of new products and new technologies and things like that. But we go all the way down to you know, smaller companies as well. Wilson Sonsini, you probably know them as one of the prominent law firms here in the Bay Area. Has hundreds of lawyers. Right? Yeah, I think I wouldn't venture a guess as to exactly how many. Buildings, but it's hundreds as opposed to thousands. Yeah. And this works well for them as well. So and then and so we have a licensing agreement that actually is charged then by you know, by the number of people who are going to be using that content. And then if they require our digital media services, then we have another, you know, agreement with them to charge for those as well. So we try to, do it on a per seat basis essentially. Very cool. Where do we learn more about it? www.altuscorp.com. Great. And thank you so much. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you very much as well. Who are you?
Oh, I'm Sebastian Grady. I'm the president and COO of Altus.
Oh, very cool. And what are you showing me today?
Today I'm showing you our Oracle, a couple different sites from Oracle. So Oracle is a big customer of ours, and we have filmed all of the content from Oracle's virtual sales kickoff in June. That's this site right here. And then we also did the largest vendor-sponsored conference in the world, which you're familiar with, Robert, called Oracle Open World. And in this site, there's over 1,700 presentations that were delivered in 4 days. And this site, for the Salesforce, there were 82 presentations that were delivered prior to the go live of this virtual event.
Cool. Can you just click on a video just to show me what a page looks like that has
Sure. Let's say I click on this Oracle database, how to generate more database revenue. Yeah. Once you click on that, you get a view of all the slides related to this video, and you have a bunch of different icons here. So if you had a low bandwidth connection, you could launch the audio on demand. If you have a regular connection like we do now, you could launch the video. These are downloadable files, so you could download the MP3 or the MP4.
Oh, that's cool. So if I wanted to listen to this in my car, while commuting, I could put it on my iPhone or iPod or whatever device.
Absolutely.
That plays
I'll
MP3
actually,
files.
I'll show you more of the downloads these days have been MP4s because there's a proliferation of smartphones in the enterprise today. I'll show you a couple of these videos on my BlackBerry here as we get into this.
Okay.
You also have the ability to see the full transcript of exactly what the presenter said, and you have this nice little HTML here where you can go from slide to slide.
Yeah, be deliberate and slow
Okay.
when you move around.
You have this nice HTML where I can click, let's say, on slide 7 here, and I can see that data. And then you also have the PowerPoint slide with the embedded transcript. That's a pretty neat thing. So if I go out to my desktop here really quick, I'm going to show you what one of these slides looks like.
We know what PowerPoint looks like.
The key thing with the PowerPoint here, though,
Okay.
is that when you actually launch the PowerPoint presentation, let's see if this is one. Yeah, so the nice thing here with the PowerPoint slides is, remember, we transcribed every spoken word from the video,
Yep.
Robert, and we talked about in a typical 1-hour presentation there might be 800 words in the slide deck, but there's 10,000 spoken words.
Yeah.
So if you've ever seen salespeople ask their marketing people, hey, I love these slides, they're beautiful slides, but it would be great if I could have the speaker notes. We actually put the exact verbatim transcript of what the presenter said in the notes pages of the PowerPoint slide deck so a salesperson could reuse that content.
Interesting.
And if you think about a presentation, all the messaging is around the stories. Really good presenters today, they just put pictures up on the slides. As you could see, these Oracle slides, they're mostly just pictures.
Yep.
So if you're not the subject matter expert, you don't really know what those stories are, that messaging is that helps sell the product. And that's what we capture from the subject matter expert, so the rest of the sales force can be just as good as they
Now,
are.
if you got to a deck like this through search, can you get back to the video and watch this slide deck being given?
Absolutely. So if we went back to the video here, this is Oracle Database, how to generate more database revenue. Let me show you the real power of what we do.
Right.
So I'm going to, let's say I'm a Oracle database sales rep. I'm going to search for the term Exadata. You can see that I see that there's 1 to 18 of 18 presentations. Yes?
Yep.
And as I go down here, in typical search technologies, the only presentation that would come up is this first one because Exadata is in the title or in the description. So these other 17 would not come up. So let's say I click on this third one because this is the one I'm interested in. I'm a database sales rep. I'm interested in how to generate more database revenue.
Yeah.
So I click on this, and now I can see where Exadata is in this whole presentation. I can see little thumbnails of these slides to the right. So if there's something that catches my eye, and then you can see slide 6 here and slide 9 here. And let's say we wanted to click on this sentence in slide 12. What you're going to see here is you're going to see us launch this 29-minute presentation right at this sentence within slide 12.
Go for it.
Very, very strong product with Exadata in the database machine.
I'm going to pause it right here so you can actually see that our search term Exadata
Yep.
is in the highlighted text, and we played this presentation at minute 12:36 of a 29-minute presentation. So essentially what we've just done is we've TiVo'd this event or this sales messaging. We've made it searchable down to the spoken word like Google.
Wow.
And playable back like YouTube. And why this is important, Robert, is the average video length on YouTube is about 2 to 3 minutes.
Yeah.
In the enterprise, it's 47 minutes long. So
Yeah,
people
because
want
are
to
doing
know.
meetings and presentations and most of the sessions at Oracle World are an hour long or at least half
Absolutely.
an hour long.
Absolutely. Yes, and what's really interesting, I mean, Oracle is a very visionary company, and their recent earnings have been very successful. And I did this search on Exadata to show you that this is actually the most searched term in the sales database for Oracle, and they just tripled their Exadata sales from this quarter versus last quarter. So I think there's some real ROI behind what we actually do for companies and having their salespeople be able to execute on that messaging and win in the marketplace.
In other words, your salespeople are better trained, so they know what they're talking about.
100%, 100%.
And if somebody calls up and they're asking about Exadata, you just go Exadata, and you have all the quotes right there, and you can talk about, you know, the key points right off the slides.
I can take it one further. So let's say that I really liked this slide, and I had to go compete against one of my competitors, one of my database competitors at Bank of America on Monday. I would add this slide to my custom PowerPoint presentation that I call Bank of America. It says still the #1 database. And then if I go to that Bank of America presentation, I can see that that slide has just been added right here at the bottom.
Wow.
And you know how in the old days you'd have to bring up a bunch of PowerPoint presentations and do that? You can do that right in our product.
Not only that, I worked at Microsoft, and we would have to troll around thousands of PowerPoints to find that slide that we would need for our deck. It would take a lot longer than this.
Absolutely.
And we wouldn't have all the stories and the context around that slide that Bill Gates would have given on stage or whatnot.
Exactly. So you're getting, this is actually a great lead in here. So this slide comes in as slide 15. Like a Netflix queue, I can just make this slide 3. And it automatically moves it to here. Then I can save the changes and I can export the slide deck. When I do that, all of the verbatim speaker notes come across in the presentation that I've downloaded. So now I can take that presentation and practice it and be ready to compete at Bank of America on Monday.
Very cool.
We talked about open world here as well.
Yeah.
But let me just, we talked about those MP4s. So if you looked at the sales site, the most downloaded, there's actually more MP4s downloaded than anything else, and I'll show you what one of these things looks like. So
this is a challenging economy we're in. We need to understand how we're going to sell more database licenses, more option licenses, and stay ahead of the competition in FY10. Hello everyone and welcome.
Cool.
So this is a video straight from Open World. Arnold Schwarzenegger with Larry Ellison.
California, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Great to see you, Governor. I'm going to sit down and let the governor speak.
Well, thank you very much, Larry, for the wonderful introduction, and thank you all. Please stay down and relax.
He's hilarious.
Hope you're all having a good
So I guess that's really it. I mean, you get the gist. The whole searchability down to the spoken word is
No, that's
the
really
key
cool.
thing.
The integration is really cool.